Hello and welcome to day 6. I think I might be a little bit early, but that's fine. Just setting up. Day 6 of 25 days of raising awareness about mental health. This was started simply as a reaction to some of the 25-day challenges going around. And I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to do my thing my way. I wanted to try and reach some of those people that maybe don't actually have a voice, and then sort of maybe just sort of raise the awareness around that sort of stuff. The more we talk about this stuff, hi Jimmy. The more we talk about this stuff, then the more we're likely to get some sort of help or reaction, etc. So that was the reason why I started this. So day 6, we're talking about being positive and positivity, and I just wanted to use this sort of point after a few days, looking at what we've already talked about. So day 1, just a quick recap. Day 1, say something positive about yourself. So find some way of being positive. Yeah. Day 2 is self-talk. What are you actually saying? What are you calling yourself? Yeah. Day 3, we spoke about perceptions and our perspective and how whatever we see as our reality is true for us. That is how the world is. Day 4, we sort of broached a bit about PTSD and basically did a bit of signposting to PTSD UK. And then yesterday, up to day 5, briefly spoke about my story and sort of brushed over that really. And it was just about to just sort of making a bit of a statement about we all have a story. We all have a place where we've come from. We all have an idea of who we are. And I suppose thinking about that aspect of your life and then moving into what we're talking about today, being positive. So what is being positive? What's positivity? What is that all about? Some people think, and a majority of people think, that that's just about being happy, being sort of outwardly jovial, always having, the right answer, always being on top of things, etc. But for me, really, positivity is about accepting life as it is. And we can get into a bit of a sort of an argument about what positivity is. And then everybody has their own perspective about what positivity. But I believe if we try and stay happy, jolly, clappy all the time, it's not going to work. It's not going to make things work for us. We're going to have days and days, weeks, and sometimes a long time where things are not working well at all. Whatever we do doesn't seem to work out. Wherever we are seems to be the wrong place at the wrong time. The people around us just don't seem to be able to gel with, etc. But that doesn't mean to say that you are being negative. What that means is you're in a situation that you need to work at, and by having a positive outlook on the end result, and I say end result, the end result of that situation means that you can work on suggestions, problem solutions, goals, strategies to move yourself from where you are. What negativity does, it steals your future. And what I mean by that is, if you have a negative outlook, and not just saying about little bits and pieces, but people particularly that have a completely negative outlook on life. Oh my Lord. We call them drains. We have drains and radiators in life, and they basically draw the energy out of the room. They're almost like little vampires. They suck all the energy out of a situation because they're negative. Now, it's not necessarily their attitude or what they say, but it's just their whole persona. They seem to see the problem in every solution. They seem to see why things won't work, and there's no point even trying it. Whereas if we try and have a more positive outlook on life, and again, whatever that means to you, being positive, it's not always about being, like I said, it's happy, smiley, jolly. It's about looking at ways to move from where you are. Okay, so it's about working through with positive energy. Again, sometimes we feel flat as a pancake. Sometimes we feel that, we haven't got the energy. But that is just a temporary situation. It's a temporary part of our life where things are not working. What have we got to do is try and look at where we are. We've been there in the past. We might be there in the future. But that process of moving from where we are, using strategies, using some of the things that we might say to ourselves. Again, going back to self-talk, there's ways that we can raise ourselves up. I'm going to mention a couple of personal development trainers that, or maybe not even personal development trainers, but people that have a certain persona. Esther and Jerry Hicks, and I think Esther is still alive. Jerry Hicks sadly died, and they often talked about talking yourself positive. Okay, you get into a situation and you acknowledge that situation is really not quite positive. Things are not working for you, but I can make this suggestion, and then suddenly I can do this. Or actually, feeling like this is where I am. Accepting that you're feeling a little bit down, but actually talking about it and talking over it. I'll have a cup of tea. Or whatever it is, a strategy to move yourself out of that negative spiral. And sometimes it might not be just you that you need to do that. And again, maybe talking to somebody else, maybe talking to somebody who is a little bit more positive, but not necessarily giving you a solution. Again, what we're not talking about here is trying to fix people. We're not trying to fix a situation. We're looking at the reality of life, and life is sometimes really quite hard. And just because we feel positive about it doesn't mean to say all of a sudden everything's going to be okay. But we are going to be okay, even though everything's not okay. And it's about acknowledging at times that it is okay not to be okay. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel that things are not working for you. That's okay. What we don't want to do, though, is sit there and work ourselves into a pit of despair because of things have been not being okay. They're not okay now, but in the future, we can make a positive change. Even if it's only one small step, we can make a positive change. So working on that positivity is not happy, jolly, clappy stuff. It's about being focused on what we can do, how we can move from where we are to where we need to be. And it may just be the fact that we do have a chat with somebody. It may be the fact that we sit down and watch a funny program on TV. It may be that we write our stuff down. It may be something that we just have a piece of cake. Whatever it is that shifts you from sitting in the negative spiral of where you are, acknowledging it. Remember, we was talking on day 2 about the self-talk, being aware of what we say to each other. Not each other, but being aware of what we say to ourselves, because we spend a lot of time on ourselves, 24 hours a day. Being aware of what we're doing to ourselves, being aware of the self-talk. And if the self-talk is the thing that's dragging us down because of the situation, what can we do to change that? Well, we can talk about affirmations. Affirmations are a little bit sort of bad press sometimes, maybe a little bit false feeling, particularly if you're in a dark situation there, having a little statement that feels a little false. I am going to be fantastic every day of my life. Probably doesn't ring very true when you're having a bit of a desperate, depressive state. What might be useful is if you find a few words that you find that when you do find you're in that pit of despair, just lift your spirit a little bit. There's all sorts of things that you can get out of it. There's the Serenity Prayer. People that may recognise that from any Alcoholics Anonymous use it, or any other substance abuse groups sometimes use a serenity prayer. And again, it's not necessarily dipping into religion, but it's about focusing our energy on something that is positive to raise our spirit, to raise ourselves, so that we feel better for that portion of what we're doing. Now, I very much had a group of words that I used for a very long time. I had some stuff that I used to write down on a card. I used to carry it around with me whenever I used to feel those sort of feelings of sort of fear or worry, etc. I'd get my little card out, I'd read through it a few times, and it would help. Okay, it would help. Again, we're looking for things, strategies, okay, that help us. And again, it's trying to fight the stigma of accepting that things are not okay. It's okay to not be okay, but there's things that we can do, take responsibility for raising our spirits, ourselves, and accepting that particularly maybe we've had a period in our life where we have been quite negative. Maybe we've had quite a lot of things go on in our lives that has dragged us down, accepting that that's where we are, but also accepting the fact that, well, you know, it has been pretty hard. You know, I'm pretty down on my luck. However, what can I do? What can I say? What things can I have in my life that can just make me feel a little bit better on a daily basis? And by focusing on that process of looking for something, a solution to that negative spiral on a daily basis, of building on being positive regularly, starts to level out, starts to stop the seesaw effect of plummeting down into negativity. But also, if we start to have a routine, we start to have a positivity built into our daily lives, that routine starts to become a habit. And what we like to do is think about replacing maybe some of the negative beliefs we had from the past. Remember, we spoke about those, where they come from, you know, our past, our youth, where we picked up those negative beliefs around ourselves, maybe put in there inadvertently by other people and by things that we've seen and had done to us. Maybe we could start to think about having a positive reinforcement on a daily basis, and maybe counteracting some of that negativity, which, again, it's not going to make everything go away. It's not everything going to suddenly turn into the Magic Kingdom. What it's going to do is help us manage our day-to-day lives. It's going to help us manage that seesaw effect. It's going to help us manage moving from negativity into a more positive mindset. And that positive mindset then builds so that we can make decisions and start to look at maybe changing some of the things that we do on a regular basis, looking at more positive ways of living. You know, if we see that certain foods make us feel worse, then we, you know, rather than comfort eating and then feeling guilty about it, we have a more positive outlook and then have a healthier diet. We might decide to start taking a little bit more exercise. We might start reading more. We might start socializing more. All those things start to build. But we have to make those first steps. But positivity, again, is about building for the future, looking to the future, not reflecting on what has happened in the past, because we've got no control over that. It's done. It's happened. Yes, some terrible things might have happened to us. But if we just continually churn over those negative thoughts from the past, they're not going to help us. They're going to build and build and build. So, acknowledge that we've got a past. Acknowledge that things are not great. Acknowledge that where we are is maybe a negative place. But looking at building positive steps, positivity. Okay? I'm going to talk later on, maybe Sunday. Okay, I'm going to be talking about goal setting as a process. And if you want to go through a little bit of a goal setting exercise, then just planning ahead now. Have some pen and paper ready, and I'll discuss a long-term strategy for goal settings, that sort of stuff. But maybe just sort of going through a process of goal setting for you, those people that may be looking at doing something different, maybe looking at something they want to try and change, maybe something else after we get out of the lockdown, some sort of goal setting there to focus on a more positive future when we do start to emerge from our caves. A process of goal setting. Now, I've got a process of goal setting that I've used, and for me, it's worked. Not everything on my list. I'm not a millionaire. I am still 37, my showbiz age. Yeah, keep taking the pills. But the strategies and the goal setting process that I've used has worked for me. And what I'll do is I'll get my old goal setting books out, and I will show you what I wrote in there. I'll show you the years gone past of where I am now, and I'll go through the process of setting some goals. Now, goal setting sometimes can be a little bit sort of false again, but it's part of building the future. It's part about being positive. Again, where we are now, particularly where it might be really quite negative, is not the end. It's not where we belong. It's just part of the journey that we're on. So what we're looking at is building from here now and moving forward, building a positive step forward so that maybe tomorrow might feel a little bit bigger. All right, so what we're going to do, just going to sort of wind it up now for today's talk about positivity, about moving forward, okay? Not quite sure what I'm going to do tomorrow. Has anybody got suggestions? So day 7 tomorrow. I want to save the meaty stuff, shall we say, some of the conditions. And my plan is from Monday next week. What we're going to do is we're going to do a day of self-awareness, maybe some positivity stuff, and then we'll do a day of a condition. All right, and some of the conditions I'm going to be talking about, planning ahead. Yeah, so anxiety, panic attacks, depression. We're going to be talking about suicide. Okay, we're going to be talking about maybe alcoholism and drug abuse, all those sorts of things that may trigger something for you. Okay, so again, I will warn you well in advance when we start to do the meaty stuff. But if anybody's got any suggestions for tomorrow about what we can do, day 7. So we've covered quite a bit of stuff so far this week. Raising the game, maybe. And again, I want to put it out there that some of the stuff that I might talk about, and particularly the way that I talk about it, okay, it is only from my perspective. I don't have all the answers. I'm just sort of waving the flag so that we can be talking about this stuff that has been undercover for so long, which has resulted definitely in people taking their own lives because they feel they haven't got a voice. They feel they haven't got a way to move forward. They feel so negative about life. So positivity, again, let's focus on trying to make some positive change, steps forward. If anybody's got anything else to add at the moment, I'll just hang on there to see if anybody's got any suggestions for me. If not, post them on the video. And I just want to sort of thank everybody for their views yesterday. Over 260 views on the video so far. Some really positive feedback from all over the world. People, a few mates in America and other parts, Norway, etc. People all over the country, old school friends, etc. Positive talking about my story. But again, it's about not just about me. It's about opening it up so that you can think about what your story is. Okay. So if nobody's got anything to add, I'll close it off there. So send me a message if you've got an idea about what we could talk about tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of your evening.